Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're looking at the USO, the UUP, the GLD, the TLT, and the GDXJ. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly time frames. We use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. If you like these videos, go to my website, sign up, it's free, or click down here in the bottom right hand corner and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And guys, if you're looking for a new broker, you're an active trader, go to CobraTrading.com, check them out, tell them StockBookie sent you. Use these guys for years. Best in the business. Again, CobraTrading.com. You sign up online, promo code StockBookie. Check them out. All right, let's go into the daily chart on the USO. We did have 15 million on the day. It was up a little tiny bit, up a little bit after hours, but it's just kind of just chopping down in this area, lower range area. We got up here, nice reversal day with some follow through, held the 5.0 moving average or the 50 MA, popped up, came back in. Now we're chopping around. A little bit bearish, slightly inside bar bullish pattern, but still above the 50 here. Still a little bit weak stance below this 20 and the 200. So let's keep an eye on this, see if this is setting up for lower prices. We are making higher lows though. Higher low, and still holding that. We crack this pivot, we get below this one here, then I'd expect more downside to this area. So keep an eye on this one. If you're still bullish on here, it's got to get back above the 20 and shoot for this 200 MA. And now you have some real big resistance right here. So I'm thinking maybe a little bit of a lower high down in this area and then the possible retrace back down. So let's watch for this. It's really not telling us too much other than a little bit of chopping and above the 50 MA here and holding strong in the last couple days. Let's see what happens with the central bankers and see what they want to do. Let's go to the weekly chart though. Weekly chart, looks like we're still holding these areas here. Trying to hold the 20 MA, still below the 50, a little bit weak, but this is an inside bar bullish pattern on the bigger or the weekly time frame. So let's watch for that as well. I still think we, if we come up into the $10.50, I would love the 11.48. This area here around 12 bucks. I don't know if we get there. This is going to be a big area too, guys. If you are bullish, you got to get above this trend line. That's the big one. So, and then you're still up beside in this channel here. You look at the this underlying trend line, and then this over one connecting the highs here. Look at that. We're still right into the high, pulls back. If it does close below this area around the 944, we will be heading down towards this 865. I still think we get to the 767 and possibly lower, guys. So higher oil is not in Janet Yellen's plan, period. Let's go to the UUP. Central bankers love the dollar. Remember, we've been talking about these patterns. Look at this one. This was great bearish pattern. We're going to start with the weekly. Great bearish pattern. This thing's starting to play out. Now, this pivot and the 200 MA, guys, not holding on too much. So we might go down to 23.80. There's some big areas around 23.29. You got a low pivot around 22.46. Man, I almost can see this thing fall one more time and then going long. So we've been holding out on the dollar. We haven't done anything with this. We were long. We sold a while back. But now, gosh, it's doing the same thing. Look, down, pop, down. Sideways, pop, down. Sideways, down, pop, sideways, back down. Same thing. Down, sideways, pop, sideways, pop. Gosh, right back to the lows. So let it keep going, guys. Back to a bearish stance below all the MAs. Nice little sell candle today. You know, this thing goes down, oil should go up, and it was up a little bit today, but gold will go up too, and we'll talk about the GLD. That thing's doing really well. So let's look at the weekly. Weekly UUP2 breaking down. You know, this is the target eventually, and if it starts breaking down below the 200, but then it will get to a point where it's going to get a little bit stretched to the downside, where it's going to have to start heading up at one point. So I think they're bringing the dollar down. Oil will probably stay low. It usually goes up. That's in tandem. Same with the gold, but we'll see if that gets a disconnect in the near future. You know, with the hurricane and stuff like that, we might actually catch a bit on the markets with the oil prices, so, or the USO, I should say. But right now, yeah, the UUP is starting to look pretty ugly. We cracked that $24 area, or $23.97. We're coming down in this area. So 22 will be the next stop. That's what we're going to be watching for, and ultimately 22.46. So if we could get to 22.46, maybe fill a couple of these gaps down here around 22 or so, then I'll start nibbling on the dollar. But if you're short, just keep riding this one. You know, just keep tightening the stop. Just keep bringing it down as this thing's going down. All right, let's get to the GLD. So this trade, almost there, guys. This thing's been just brutal. They're bringing it up, bringing it down, shaking people up, shaking people down. That's what these guys do. I mean, look at this. So we sold the first half here, came back, didn't do anything on this one, came back up, couldn't get through, came right back down. If it was going to break this and start to this level, then we'd start to have to add a little bit more. But we did a short-term trade here. I believe average price was around 116 or so, or 115.50. We sold at 118. It was a couple bucks. And look at that, just took off. We should have held that one too, but you know, we covered it, got another $2 here on a couple day hold, and then of course straight up. But look at it holding up here. Went to the 20 MA today, and boom, right back up, guys. So ended up 45 cents on the day. Volume was pretty good too, and it ended up green. So something, there. I can't get ahead of myself. Slightly bullish above the MAs. Great stance, great reversal back up and closed green today. That could lead to higher prices. Still have to get above, I'm going to say, this high pivot here, right around the 123.56. Then we'll have higher prices. Then you're looking at 125, 126. There's a couple areas up there. Let's go back. 125, I believe this area is 124.83. Got a gap fill around 125.33, and then we'll go from there. If it breaks out of here, then we'll look for new areas where this thing could possibly hit and then have a pullback. So with the GLD right now, nothing wrong. Holding strong, guys. I know this one's been painful if you're in with me, but we might be getting paid here really soon. Our average was from 110.65, right in that area, 60, and that's where we're at. I'm hoping right here, 131. So I'm hoping for another $9, and then I'll be done. This trade will be over. Again, we're half out here. Hopefully we're going to start breaking out. We did a short-term trade there, got a couple bucks, and enjoy the ride. All right, let's go to the TLT. TLT weekly chart, still inside this bar. Inside bar, a slightly bearish pattern, getting to the top of this red. If you're bullish on the TLT, you've got to get above 128.59. It breaks above there, you're most likely going to 130, 120. So it's not too far away, $3, $4. You break through there, fill the gap, then you're off to the races. I think you can retest these highs again, 140. But big area right now, 128.59, 130, and then of course this pivot. So I don't want to see a one head fake close up here and the next day it comes right back in. So watch for that. But this chart here on the weekly is slightly on the bearish side, even though it's above the MAs on a bullish stance. This is a nice inside bar, retracing back to the highs. And again, you got to get above 128.59 if you want the TLT to go higher. That's the weekly chart, the bigger time frame. This time frame, nothing wrong other than the inside bar pattern. Bullish, you got to get above. Bearish, it's got to get right there and then just start coming in. Not even give a chance. And these are some big red bars here. So that's going to be good resistance up in this pivot high in this area. Let's look at the daily chart, though, a little shorter term time frame. Still a daily chart. And still chopping along. I mean, this is actually slightly bullish too. Above the MAs, up, sideways. I would have loved to have come this, a little bit more of a wedge down into the 20 MA, pushing it up. But give it a couple more days next week. This 20 MA will start coming here. Maybe that's where we chop right into that. We're holding this 382 retrace as we come down as well. As long as we stay above these, this thing should start moving up. The big area, again, like on the weekly, 128.59. You got a topping tail and a gap fill here too. So let's even look for maybe a gap up over this stuff so we haven't had to deal with it. So that's where we're at. I'm thinking this is for higher prices. But on the weekly, you have the inside bar. Gets above this one, then we're going. If it can't get above that after it fills the gap, then I think it's going to start coming down again. And then look for the gap up, guys. It's the only way they're going to get it above there. The easiest way, gap it up and go. All right, that's what we're looking for there. The TLT, and then let's go to the GDXJ, guys. So this one's been hanging on. We talked about the 20 and the 50 MA. It is holding up above that area now and consolidating in a slightly bullish manner now. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 days sideways. Let's click on there. So that's the 200 MA. So now maybe they're just going to chop it, let the 200 MA just kind of drag in the price and then gap it over and then keep this thing going. We're going to see. The GLD's been moving pretty good as well. This one's starting to go. But again, you had people who bought at 31.83. They get a couple bucks, they might become sellers. But if this one definitely moves up into this area, guys, the 30, 35.89, 36 even number, let's see what it's going to do. Off this pattern, I'm thinking gap up and get this thing going up to this area. You have the 750 retrace as well. What else? Gap fill up there too, and then you have the high pivot at 38.03. So you got a lot of resistance. And this one overall, this is down, sideways, bearish pattern, setting up for lower prices. But as long as it holds this trend line here, it's doing okay. And then you have a second trend line here. That's going to be a little bit bigger than the one above it. But both big trend lines, both good areas of support. This one too. This is going to be the fourth time for this hit. Let's see if that's going to do some more damage and possibly weaken this one if it heads down. If it stays above, then this thing has a great shot at gapping above and keep this thing going to 38, maybe even the 38.55 area too. So keep an eye on that one. So there's nothing wrong, guys. There's just hold tight. It starts slipping on those MAs and comes to that trend line. Then you got to think about, okay, what am I going to do here? But that's that big trend line here. That's the one that's below this upper one. That's the big one too, guys. And it is setting up down, sideways, down, choppy, sideways. You are above the MAs on the weekly, so it gives a little better stance. But this one starts breaking down. You're going to 27. You might be filling gaps down in here, and then double bottom here at 1697 or so. So watch for that, guys. That's a possibility on this one. Bulls, it's got to get above the MA and make a run for these high pivots here. Gets above there, then you're most likely going to this area here, 42.90. This will be the big breakdown bar. We talked about that 40.58 area or so, right in here with this big red bar. Look at that. Then it came down, chopped sideways. Boom, the next leg down. Now we're just holding. Volume's okay. This is weekly, so yeah, weekly volume. Even with the light volume, it's starting to float a little bit, but big area, 50 MA. If it gets above even the 50 on the weekly, then you're probably going up into this area too. So watch for that, guys. Just be careful in these markets, like I've been saying. You can wake up to a 500 gap down on the Dow, and this whole thing's tanking. The gap ups, you might get a 100-pointer to 150, and it goes. I think the selling will be more fierce than the buying that's coming in, and we're a little bit long in the tooth on these stocks, guys. But just hold tight. Let's see what these markets bring next week. I'm thinking the GDXJ and the gold should start running a little bit more. USO should possibly come down, and hopefully we can get some more trades out next week and try to make some more money, guys. All right, so thanks for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. God bless. See you on the charts.